In at number 10, Jeffree Star. Jeffree Star's cosmetics company has brought in hundreds of millions of dollars, and according to Forbes, he is now one of the most powerful figures in the industry. Star first rose to fame when his makeup vlogs on YouTube became very popular. From there, he went on to launch his own cosmetics line. Before that though, he was a modestly successful MySpace musician. However, now that he is intertwined with all the drama happening in the beauty community, he is being bombarded with hatred, and rightfully so. Cameron Lester called him and Shane Dawson out for using him as their token black friend for videos, and from there it just got worse. Their troublesome friendship really came about when Shane wanted to document Star in what would be called the beautiful world of Jeffree Star. Following Cameron's video, Jeffree left him a voicemail and denied his allegations against him. The voicemails were eventually leaked to drama channels and contributed to the negative wave that would soon erupt after Shane acknowledged the rumors about his role in the feud between Charles, Westbrook, and Star. Now before we hit number 9, we need you guys to hit that like button. In at number 9, Gal Gadot. Imagine if celebrities singing from their mansions could fix this widespread pandemic. That's probably what Gal Gadot's first thought was the day that she decided to have a bunch of celebrities sing Imagine by John Lennon into their cell phones.
Someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one.
That little smirk at the end though, it just says it all, doesn't it? I mean, look how pleased she is with herself. On the plus side, instead of bringing the world together for one big kumbaya song, they instead united us in hate. It was the only thing on the internet that people as a collective agreed was about as unnecessary as a DVD rewinder. As a result of her trying to comfort her fans, Gal ended up feeling the full brunt of the Twitterati who threw a Gal Gadot is over party upon watching the tone deaf video. In at number 8, Tory Lanez. Canadian rapper Tory Lanez, whose real name is Daystar Peterson, really gained mass popularity through this pandemic by constantly doing Instagram live sessions. His show was called Quarantine Radio and featured a ton of content that broke the community guidelines of Instagram. That being said, he was still crowned the quarantine king by his followers. With clout around his name now, we saw Tory hanging around the likes of bigger celebrities like Kylie Jenner and Megan Thee Stallion. Which brings us to what Tory was being exposed for. Megan was in a car with Tory and a member of his security team driving through an LA neighborhood. Apparently an argument took place that resulted in Megan deciding that she was going to get out and walk to where she was staying. However, before she could do so, Tory allegedly shot her in the foot.
So, since y'all hoes so worried about it, yes, this nigga Tory shot me. You shot.
Either way, Meg calling Tory out led to many of his fans turning on him, and thus another celebrity was cancelled by themselves. In at number 7, Chet Hanks.
What's up, everyone? Yeah, it's true. My parents got coronavirus. Crazy.
Chet Hanks must be the least favorite kid in the Hank household right now. Not only did he do this response shirtless, but his whole attitude seemed very casual about the fact that his mom and dad were locked down and actually have COVID. Not only that, but when he got some backlash for this, he just doubled down on the crazy. Chester then started trolling Tom Hanks' fans that his family was in the Illuminati. Yes, because in times of absolute chaos, we need this Grand Theft Auto character spewing nonsense to the world, and further stirring the conspiracy pot. He then started joking even more about how he's going to have to work extra hard on his human sacrifices because he's feeling hungry. Will someone please take this man's phone away from him, because nothing good happens when the camera points in his direction.
I think it's all gonna be alright, but I appreciate it, and just everybody stay safe out there. Much love.
In at number 6, Vanessa Hudgens. In perhaps one of the most tone-deaf videos I've seen in a long time, the actress showed us how truly uneducated her opinions were with this video.
Even if everybody gets it, like, yeah, people are gonna die. It's just terrible, but like, inevitable?
She sounds like if Thanos was a Valley girl. During an Instagram live, which apparently everyone and their mother is doing now, she decided to reply to some fans. Obviously people were asking her about the current situation and what her thoughts were on it, but man did those replies ever go viral. She said before that clip that staying in lockdown until July is BS, and then she word for word said this: "I'm sorry, but like, it's a virus, I get it, I respect it." First of all, how does one respect the virus? Oh yeah, by staying inside and away from your grandparents. When people started getting angry with her comments, she said that they were taken out of context, but then failed to provide the context. In at number 5, Jake Paul. Whether or not you've ever enjoyed Jake Paul's content, he certainly has built an impressive fan base over the years simply by acting like a maniac. He has garnered over 20 million subscribers on YouTube, most of which truly love the content that he's posted over the years. Jake already had some people beginning to hate him when he tried to sell a gambling service called Mystery Box to his young fans, but the straw that broke the camel's back came when he decided to do some filming in Arizona. During the riots that took place in multiple areas around the city, Jake found himself on camera being handed a bottle of vodka that was stolen from a P.F. Chang's. The best kind of vodka, I guess? Following that, he was arrested for unlawful assembly and trespassing after multiple eyewitness accounts notified the police. Then on top of that arrest, his house was raided by the FBI in connection to the Arizona looting, and they uncovered a ton of weapons, one of which was just chilling next to his hot tub. Very irresponsible, canceled himself. In at number 4, Bryan Adams. It's safe to say that Bryan Adams will always remember the summer of COVID-19. The 60-year-old Canadian singer stirred a ton of controversy after having to cancel a 3-night stint of shows in London. In the tweet he said, "Tonight was supposed to be the beginning of a tendency of gigs at the Royal Albert Hall, but thanks to some bat-eating, wet market, animal-selling, virus-making greedy bastards, the whole world is on hold." Now, regardless of where the coronavirus came from, it's tweets like this that are causing a violent energy towards Asian Americans. Oddly enough, Adams got more annoying when he tried to spin this tweet into an advocacy of a vegan diet. This really upset a lot of people, and rightfully so. One user had this to say: "Did not have Bryan Adams tweets racist as a 2020 moment, but here it is, right before our very eyes." In at number 3, Jenna Marbles. Jenna had been on YouTube for a very long time, and after multiple videos of hers blew up, she began garnering millions of subscribers, 20 million to be more precise, although in a video titled "A Message," Jenna addressed the controversy of her older content. She apologized for the video that she made impersonating Nicki Minaj in 2011, where she donned blackface and went on to say,
"It's not my intention to do blackface. I do want to tell you how unbelievably sorry I am if I ever offended you."
In response to a small group of people on the internet trying to have her canceled, Jenna archived the old videos and announced that she would be stepping away from her channel, thus canceling herself. She said that she doesn't know if it's forever, but she wants to make sure that the things she puts out in the world aren't hurting anyone, and we agree. Although I don't agree that she should step away forever. Jenna Marbles, totally unproblematic. She should definitely come back at some point. In at number 2, Shane Dawson. After what happened to George Floyd, America went into civil unrest and the people demanded answers from law enforcement. Along with that, however, comes the necessary task of curating our culture to get rid of the problematic people who only add fuel to the fire. Getting rid of sounds awful, but what I mean is hold them responsible or accountable so that we can at least admit our mistakes and move forwards as a society. The weirdest part about Shane Dawson doing blackface is that he's done it on more than one occasion and done so in a time where you kind of thought that people would be more tolerant. Even weirder is that when he apologized for taking his sketches too far with blackface, a bunch of his white fans were like, "Ah, we forgive you. Sorry to say this, but that apology isn't meant for you. It's meant for the people that he was mocking, and I don't think letting this one slide was a wise idea." There have been so many red flags with him, but this one should have been the final straw. However, it wasn't, so he continued on as if nothing happened. Last but certainly least on our number 1 spot, Madonna. Madonna was one of the many celebrities that we talked about on this list that either felt the need to share their views on the virus or outright claim that we don't have to worry about it. Madonna received a ton of backlash after a video she posted to Instagram of her enjoying a bath while ranting about the pandemic. The clip was shared to her nearly 15 million followers as she sat in a bathtub filled with rose petals while listening to some very creepy piano music in the background.
How old you are. What amazing stories you can tell. It's the great equal.
Then she ends the whole video giving her legion of fans little to no hope whatsoever. She closes out by saying, "Like I used to say at the end of human nature every night, if the ship goes down, we're all going down together." Oh, thanks Madonna, that really calmed me down. The backlash for this post was insane, with many calling her and other celebrities out for getting early access to testing kits and somehow still finding a way to complain about it.
So starting off our list at number 10 today, we have Drew Barrymore. So on Tuesday, February 28th, Drew Barrymore would share with the world that she doesn't get her gorgeous salon color in the salon, and she actually gets it from the comfort of her own home. As she would tell the world, not only does she use box dye, but she is now the new face of Garnier Nutrice. Drew then went on to caption her post on Garnier USA's official Instagram page by saying, "You wanna know who my celebrity stylist is? Me and Garnier USA Nutrice. I am excited to share that I am officially the Nutrice girl." She then went on to add in the post that she has been coloring her own hair at home for years and that she is proud that she could finally share her official secret before adding, "Nourished hair, better color, here I am," as she reveals that the color she uses to get her perfect look is Garnier Nutrice No. 70 Dark Natural Blonde. But do we actually believe she gets her gorgeous color from box dye, or do we think it's just clickbait so we all opt in to buy Garnier Nutrice? Number 9, Lady Gaga. So the biggest questions fans have been asking since 2011 is if Lady Gaga is actually guilty when it comes to not paying her former personal assistant for overtime. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, well, back in 2011, Jennifer O'Neill sued Lady Gaga, claiming that Lady Gaga owed her over $380,000 for carrying out 7,168 hours of extra work during the 2010 Monster Ball trek. In 2013, it seems like the trial was finally settled, but the settlement was kept pretty confidential as neither side's attorneys commented on what happened. But we do know Gaga didn't initially move towards an out-court agreement without showing her teeth, to the point she even fumed about Jennifer in her deposition in 2012 when she said she just thinks she's just like the queen of the universe. And you know what? She didn't want to be a slave to one, because in my work, what I do, I'm the queen of the universe every day. You don't get a schedule that's like you punch in and you can play at your desk for hours and then punch out at the end of the day. This is when I need you, you're available. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel because it would really help us out. Coming at number 8, we have Madonna. It's said that anyone who is a big fan of Madonna, or if you're over 40, then you can't forget the massive confidence Madonna showed after her performance on the American Bandstand in 1984. When Dick Clark asked the up-and-coming star about her dreams and goals for the future, the Material Girl replied by saying to rule the world. Then for the next 2 decades, Madonna went on to break all the rules and she just kept pushing all the limits she could. While the star wanted to rule the world, she certainly did not, but she certainly did cement herself as one of the biggest stars in the world. Unfortunately, it would then later be exposed that Madonna doesn't really take very good care of the people who take care of her day-to-day needs, as the singer is known for either leaving a very bad tip or no tip at all when she's dining out, and from time to time she's even been called out in many instances for being a major cheapskate. Number 7, Kim Kardashian. When Kim Kardashian started to clean out her closet in an eBay auction for charity, the star quickly came under fire when she said a percentage of the proceeds would aid victims of the Philippines typhoon disaster. But the key word, percentage, and many fans were crying out foul, as only just 10% of the sales would actually go to the charity, which is actually truly disgusting and disappointing. As when Kim first told her fans about the charity, she said the proceeds will go directly to the communities they're serving in the Philippines and will help typhoon survivors get access to medical care and ultimately save lives. She then went on to deceive the public by making it sound like the charity would receive more than just 10%. And honestly, the star could afford to give the whole proceeds to the charity, which she just chose not to do. And it was honestly just wrong to mislead the public the way she did, and it was honestly just really selfish in the end. Number 6, Kristen Bell. Kristen Bell is a passionate advocate for a number of different causes, as she is a longtime vegetarian and she has even started a plant-based baby care company. On top of that, in 2019, in an interview about her spending habits with InStyle, the actress took the opportunity to further open up about her sustainable lifestyle. Bell then went on to gush about how her and her daughters even like to embrace things like thrift shopping, upcycling, and using less plastic. When she told the media outlet, "We take waste very seriously in our household. We compost, and I find the girls saying cute things like, 'I'll keep those bottle caps, I'll use them in a craft later.'" In addition to inspiring her kids to upcycle into their crafting routine, Bella is also teaching them to be thrifty and embrace secondhand shopping by saying, "I have to be honest, I don't splurge a lot on my kids because they're kids, they ruin everything. I buy a lot of their clothes secondhand, and I don't buy them a ton of new toys. That's what grandmas are for. And B, I don't have a ton of new plastics in the house, so I tend to be aware of that." Number 5, Lindsay Lohan. In May of 2011, Lindsay pleaded no contest to a misdemeanor theft for stealing a $2,500 necklace from a Los Angeles store. The actress then claimed that the necklace was on loan to her, but the store's owner then said that Lindsay just simply walked out of the store with the jewels. Lindsay would then later be sentenced to 120 days in jail, which she didn't end up doing. And in 2012, the news would then be plastered with the star's name again, as media outlets all over the world started to claim that Lindsay was a troubled star that also allegedly owed the Chateau Marmont Hotel more than $46,000 for a 47-night stay. Inside sources then started to claim that they believed it was the producers of her Lifetime movie Liz and Dick that were picking up the expensive tab. Later, TMZ would then report that Lindsay finally paid her tab and eventually was allowed to go back to the hotel, which she calls home. Number 4. Sarah Michelle Gellar. Okay, so if you don't love Sarah Michelle Gellar, then you might actually love her after you hear this, as the star is not only an actress and entrepreneur, but she's also the queen of coupons. She once even told CNBC Make It, "I cut coupons to this day. I'll never forget one time I was at Bloomingdale's and they had these coupons. Bloomingdale's has really good coupons and I was taking them all out. I was doing holiday shopping and someone behind me turned around and said, 'I can't believe how long you're taking. Why are you using coupons?'" Sarah then remembers looking at the person behind her and asking her, "Why should I pay more?" She then went on to say, like, "If there's a coupon there, I'm going to use it. Just because you're successful doesn't mean that you shouldn't be errant in your spending. I've never believed that." While she may have the funds to make some pretty big purchases, it's in Sarah's nature to be smart about her spending, which is pretty relatable because even before the star makes a purchase, like a leather jacket per se, she'll look at it for a couple of days to make sure she really wants it before she goes on and purchases it. Take advice from Sarah Michelle Gellar. Number 3. Sarah Jessica Parker. Sarah Jessica Parker has held a reputation of having one of the world's best closets thanks to her alter ego on the show Sex and the City. But even before she had every designer at her fingertips, the star says she was having fun with fashion, just in a more low budget way. In her cover story for InStyle's 2016 January issue, she would open up about her inspiration, being a designer, and why thrifty stores are so important to her. As before she was introduced to women all across the country, she didn't have all those big designers on speed dial, so thrift stores played a huge part in her life. And even today, she's not looking to keep up with the trends as she likes creating them as a designer herself. But it's honestly nice to know that even if you don't have a high budget, you can still dress to the nines and look your best just by shopping at your local thrift store, as even big name celebrities still do it today. Number 2. Mila Kunis. Despite Mila Kunis being worth millions of dollars, she still likes to use her coupons and save her money. In an interview with Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend podcast, she would say, "If you're an immigrant, you have a very different mentality because I am an immigrant and I think that creates a different perspective on what the value of a dollar is and what hard work is." She then went on to say that she has been leery about spending money even prior to marrying Ashton Kutcher, when she said, "I'm such an extreme, I'm gonna be broke tomorrow. I'm not gonna have a job. I was always living my life so cautiously that it took me the longest time." Even to this day, despite her husband's interventions, she still has thrifty tendencies aimed at reducing wastefulness, and part of her balance includes online company Groupon, as the star is a huge supporter and walks into restaurants to use Groupon all the time. She even finds herself fishing for discounts even at the spa, and when she's online shopping, she looks for all the discount codes. And coming in at our number 1 spot today, we have Winona Ryder. So back in 2001, Winona Ryder shocked the world after she was arrested for shoplifting at Saks Fifth Avenue in Beverly Hills. Ryder was busted when she tried leaving the store with more than $5,000 worth of clothes, which was baffling since she definitely had the money to pay for the merchandise since she was the highest paid actress at the time. The actress was then convicted of a grand theft felony vandalism, given 3 years probation, and assigned to 480 hours of community service. And the court then ordered Ryder to pay restitution to Saks and undergo psychological and substance counseling. Later, the court then reduced her felonies to a misdemeanor after she demonstrated that she was a good citizen. In 2013, Winona would then tell Radar Online that the embarrassing incident then forced her to take a much needed break from acting. In a weird way, it was almost the best thing that could have happened to her.
At number 10, Piers Morgan. Everyone is entitled to their own opinions. I mean, it's what Piers Morgan's career was pretty much based on. But sometimes opinions can go too far and you can get cancelled. Piers Morgan has had a lot to say about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's interview with Oprah that became one of the biggest bombshells this year so far. During the interview, secrets were revealed, tea was spilled, and it gave a lot of people a lot to discuss. One of the things that was picked apart by a lot of people were Meghan Markle's comments on her mental health before they split from the royal family. Meghan said that she was really depressed and had thoughts of taking taking her own life. Piers Morgan decided to pick her comments about her mental health apart and said that in his opinion, he, quote, didn't believe a word that Meghan said. He criticized Meghan's mental health, and a lot of people saw that as going too far. There are just some things that you don't make comments about, and mental health is one of those topics. As a result, Piers and the network he worked for faced mass scrutiny for saying such a thing about someone's mental health, as it was seen as diminishing and deflecting the severity of such a thought, like taking your own life. Because of the backlash he faced, Piers announced that he would be leaving the network, but that he still didn't believe Meghan's claims, saying, quote, freedom of speech is a hill I'm happy to die on. This all caused Piers to face cancellation, but in a way, he brought it upon himself. Instead of realizing what he said was hurtful, he continued on with his criticisms. At number 9, Ellen DeGeneres. Last year, Ellen faced a lot of drama and backlash and cancellations. It started with allegations of a toxic work environment that then snowballed into her facing scrutiny for her comments on her lockdown experience, the Black Lives Matter movement, and it even had people digging up old interviews to show how toxic she's been. With all of the backlash she's been facing over the last year, her career has taken some serious damage. According to some sources, her show had seen a huge drop in ratings following her cancellation, and a number of advertisers had pulled their support from the show as well. Now, just recently, Ellen has announced the end of her show at the end of her 19th season. When news broke of her show ending after nearly 2 decades, Ellen said that this was a personal decision to end the show, saying that she's looking for a new challenge, but I'm sure that her recent negative attention also played a big part in this decision. She's essentially canceled herself in the sense that she's pulled the plug on her own show. Now, before I carry on with the video, I'd like to ask you guys to consider leaving a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and also check out my gaming channel Viper Girl to watch some awesome gaming content as well. At number 8, James Charles. YouTuber James Charles might be the next YouTuber on the YouTube chopping block because of a recent string of backlash and criticisms that he's been facing. James has faced backlash and scandal in the past, but this time around things are getting really serious, and it could mean the end of his career as he knows it. James has been faced with allegations of having inappropriate relationships with fans, but this year James is feeling even more heat as fans have come forward about their encounters with James online. This year alone, he's faced numerous allegations of inappropriate relationships, and not only that, but he's also been caught in the middle of a lawsuit with his former creative director. The former employee is suing James on the grounds of wrongful termination, among other things, and they are also exposing James for his poor treatment of his employees, as well as his own questionable actions. As a result of the allegations against him, as well as the bad press he's been receiving due to the legal battle that he's in, James has lost his hosting job of the makeup web series, Morphe Cosmetics has dropped him and his collaboration, and his channel has also been demonetized. James has sort of done this to himself because his own personal actions have led him to this point and him getting into a lot of hot water. At number 7, Chris Harrison. Bachelor/Bachelorette host Chris Harrison faced backlash earlier this year for comments that he made regarding another contestant's past. At the beginning of the Bachelor season early this year, photos of one of the Bachelor contestants was released which showed her in a few compromising situations, specifically of her attending an antebellum themed party. These photos were seen as racist and very offensive because of the history of the antebellum South. When the scandal first broke, there were people asking those on the show for comments, and when Chris was asked about his thoughts on the matter, he responded with some comments that fans perceived as perpetuating racism. In an interview on Extra, when asked about the contestants' controversial photos, Chris was seemingly dismissive of her actions of her being at this party because it, quote, was in 2018. Rachel Lindsay, a past contestant and the show's first Black Bachelorette, questioned Chris on this, saying that it doesn't matter if this happened in 2018 or 2021, saying that it is never a good look. In response, Chris continued to try and defend his stance, but it didn't really win anyone over. He was later removed from the show because of the backlash he was facing, and there's no word yet on whether or not he will be welcomed back. Chris sort of brought this on himself because of the comments that he made on the situation, but he is also saying that he recognizes the impact of his words, issuing an apology to his fans. At number 6, Armie Hammer. Armie Hammer has been in a lot of trouble lately after the actor caused the first big Hollywood scandal this year. In January, leaked DMs of Armie's conversations with other women were leaked, which showed the actor talking about some intense bedroom fantasies. The page House of Effie exposed the leaked messages, exposing some of their adult content, and as a result of this first bombshell, things escalated to the point where some of Armie's former partners have started to come forward accusing the actor of some serious crimes. An investigation has now been set into motion as officials look into these troubling allegations, and as a result, Armie has been losing work from all sides. When the scandal first broke, broke, he made the decision to back out of an upcoming film project alongside Jennifer Lopez, and he also dropped out of a series he was cast for Paramount+. But since then, as this scandal has grown, he's starting to get fired from other projects. Army has also been dropped by his agent and publicist. He's been cancelled because of his own actions, so really he brought this all on himself and has tanked his own career. At number 5, Sia. Singer Sia made headlines for something other than her music recently as she announced the release of her movie Music. The film is about a young nonverbal girl on the autism spectrum, and a lot of people, especially those in the autism community, have had a lot to say about it, and none of it is positive. Sia has since been facing backlash as a result because many people in the autism community have taken offense to the movie. The biggest complaint about the film is the fact that this role wasn't given to someone on the autism spectrum. The role instead went to Maddie Ziegler, who's worked closely with Sia for many years. Along with the casting backlash, Sia has also faced scrutiny for the portrayal of a type of restraint in the film that is known as very dangerous and is seen as very negative and triggering to many people in the autism community. People are really just against the movie for its glorified portrayal of the autism spectrum, and though Sia has issued a number of apologies, this just seems to be getting worse for her. The backlash was so bad that Sia had deleted her social media accounts. Sia was cancelled because of the film, and one could say that she cancelled herself because she didn't do enough research into the complexity of the autism community. At number 4, Marilyn Manson. One of the biggest scandals this year comes from the exposure of singer Marilyn Manson after he was accused of deeply hurting others. There's a better word to describe the horrific things that have come out about the singer, but for YouTube reasons I can't get into that, but I'm sure you catch my drift here. Actor Evan Rachel Wood was the first to publicly come forward to name Manson as the person who has hurt her, citing years of manipulation, brainwashing, and pain. Recently, Wood opened up about some of the things that she endured with Manson, citing the singer's highly offensive actions, even exposing him for having used the N-word on multiple occasions. Other people have come forward with their experiences as well, like Game of Thrones actress Esme Bianco, who has cited some horrific things, and most recently his former assistant has also come forward with new information about Manson. Manson has been feeling the heat from the industry as he's been dropped from his music label and is now under investigation by the LA County Sheriff's Department. Following these allegations, Marilyn has been thoroughly cancelled, and he did this all to himself. At number 3, Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil was recently exposed and cancelled following rapper Bad Baby's YouTube video where she spoke out about the treatment that she experienced from a youth reform camp that she was sent to after her time on Dr. Phil's show. The rapper, whose real name is Danielle Bergoli, posted a video to her YouTube channel opening up about what she experienced, detailing how staff at the camp called Turnabout Ranch treated her and other kids. In the video, she shared how she was taken from her home in the middle of the night, handcuffed, and wasn't allowed to sleep or shower for 3 days. She also said that staff used restraints on people, and some people claimed to have been assaulted while there. Danielle exposed Dr. Phil because he is the one who recommended this camp, and he has been doing so for such a long time. People were furious with Dr. Phil because he condoned such a horrific place, and he was cancelled for it. Danielle demanded that Dr. Phil apologize for his actions and for supporting Turnabout Ranch. People find it hard to believe that he had no prior knowledge of what was going on at the ranch, and so when he faced backlash for it all, people said that this was all his own fault. At number 2, Lily Singh. Toronto's own Lily Singh has been facing cancellation recently, but not for something you would expect. There isn't any backlash or drama, it's just her late night show getting cancelled. Her show A Little Late with Lily Singh was cancelled after 2 seasons on air, with the show's final episode airing on June 3rd. Lily said in her statement addressing the show's cancellation that she's moving on to bigger and better things, so maybe Lily played a part in ending the show herself. The program seemed to have been struggling lately as views were down, and since they had to take the show in a different direction because of the pandemic. Lily announced that she was working on other new projects, so this surely won't be the last we see of her on TV, but in the meantime, she's cancelled. And finally, at number 1, J.K. Rowling. Last year, Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling came under fire over a number of things, such as allegations of transphobia, after she sent out a series of tweets that were seen as highly offensive to the trans community. J.K. spoke out on social media about her opinions and views on trans people, specifically trans women, and because of the comments that she made, she faced massive backlash. Her words impacted a lot of people from the trans community, but they also had an effect on her business relationships as well, as those who have ties with her Harry Potter franchise were brought into this mess. Companies like HBO and Universal Parks had to issue statements trying to salvage their own image, and they've come out pretty okay, but JK hasn't. Since her drama last year, the author continues to lay into this, going along with the hate that she's received. She was cancelled last year, but that veil has yet to be lifted because no one is forgiving her. As a result of this continuing drama, her business has suffered as her HBO plans remain on the rocks, and her book sales have declined in recent months. JK cancels herself because it was her own words and actions that led her into this mess, and the fact that she continues to behave that way shows that there may not be an exit to this cancellation made.
Starting off our listing at number 10, we have Rihanna. So back in 2013, TMZ would report that Rihanna was being sued over $150,000 for skipping out on paying for her grandmother's funeral services. So it said that after Rihanna's grandmother passed away, she wanted a party complete with tents, multimedia large screens, and huge exotic floral arrangements. But big parties and funeral services come with a big price. And for the company that helped Rihanna's visions come to life, they would claim that the grand total was going to be more than $150,000 for claiming that the singer actually only paid a quarter of their bill, as she refused to pay any more. The article then went on to claim that in the lawsuit, the company would claim that Rihanna refused to pay for the price as she felt like it was a bit exorbitant, and the funeral home claimed that it was because Rihanna's demands came at a hefty price. Now, the singer's reps would later tell TMZ that the allegations were completely false and that Rihanna did pay the full bill, but then the home then claimed that this wasn't true, so it really makes you wonder, did she pay the bill or did she not, or did she just pay it late? Number 9, Kendall Jenner. When Kendall Jenner was out dining with Hailey Bieber, she would become extremely unhappy when the staff wouldn't serve her any alcohol because she was underage at the time. So instead of giving up like any other 18-year-old, the model apparently decided she would get up and leave and not pay for all the food she ordered, which was apparently only $60 worth, before a tip. Her server was then forced to chase the model outside and ask her to pay for her bill. To the point it was reported that all Kendall and Hailey did was start laughing. Then Kendall took the $20 bill out of her wallet and threw it at the server's face before walking away. She didn't even check to see if it was enough to cover her bill or if it even included a tip. The waitress later took to Instagram to say, "The horrible moment, you chased a Kardashian down the street because she forgot to pay for her bill to throw money in your face." Later, only Hailey's rep would make a comment about the incident when she said the girls thought everything was paid for and Kendall was polite and did ask if the money covered everything. But none of us really believe that statement. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you can keep up to date on all the latest videos. Number 8, Megan Fox. In an interview with Express, Megan Fox will reveal that when she was just 14, she decided she was going to steal a Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen cosmetic item from Walmart. She then would go on to explain to the outlet, "They actually took me to court and I had two choices. I took the second one, which was wrapping gifts for Christmas, which was awesome. It wasn't really a punishment. The other one was they were gonna make me wear a sign that said I stole from Walmart, standing outside for 3 days." As of 2009, Megan would refuse to shop from Walmart as she didn't know if her ban was for lifetime or not. But honestly, the kit was probably only $2, so the fact she didn't pay for it, or the fact Walmart actually wanted her to stand outside with a sign that said I stole from Walmart for 3 days is pretty embarrassing enough to make sure she probably would never do it again. Number 7, Michael Jordan. NBA legend Michael Jordan's net worth is estimated to be $1.7 billion. Yet the former Chicago Bulls star has earned a reputation for being notoriously stingy when it comes to picking up a check. In an interview back in 2010, the vice president of operations for the Hard Rock Hotel in Las Vegas shared an illustrative story about the time both Michael and hockey icon Wayne Gretzky were gambling in the casino together. Apparently, Michael had ordered a drink and then gave the waiter a $5 chip as a tip. Wayne then took the chip off the cocktail waitress's tray, gave it back to Michael, and then grabbed a $100 chip off of Michael's stack before telling the basketball star, "That's how we tip in Vegas, Michael." Number 6, Tiffany Haddish. Things haven't always been easy for Tiffany Haddish, as she's literally come from nothing until she finally broke out into fame thanks to roles like her hit comedy Girls Trip. Tiffany is a true statement of what it means to go from rags to riches, as she once was so broke she even had to live in her car. Tiffany poked a little fun at herself in 2017 while throwing shade at Jada Pinkett Smith in the process during her comedy special when she recalled being taken to task by Jada when she discovered that Tiffany's Michael Kors handbag was a cheap knockoff. Tiffany then responded to the star by saying, "Well, until I can afford the real one, I'ma be rocking the fake one. And I have no problem with that, Jada, and honestly, good for her, as you don't need to buy the most expensive handbags to dress nice or to look nice. But shame on Jada for making fun of her for it." Number 5, Shailene Woodley. Okay, Shailene Woodley is definitely a fashion icon, and the fact that she exclusively only buys used clothes is even more heartwarming, as she once said in an interview with Hollywood Reporter, "I exclusively buy used clothes. I'm going to be a citizen of this planet. I'm going to do my responsibility and live in stride with nature instead of constantly fighting against her. To Shailene, the earth is her religion and she believes in the trees. Now, the star does tend to don designer from time to time, but in the process she even chooses to walk the red carpet barefoot. The star opts to wear organic material when she doesn't shop from thrift stores, as she really wants to recognize her spirit, and it's to be a hippie. So ultimately, the star decides to do this because she believes that sometimes in the industry, everything's materialistic. And she does this so she can ground herself and remember that it's truly important for her to help the planet. Number 4, Tyra Banks. Despite amassing a giant fortune thanks to her modeling, TV work, and business pursuits, Tyra has always been more of a money saver than a spender. And she even revealed in an interview with Money that she has always been more interested in things like experiences than money. When she told the magazine, "Things didn't make me happy. I saved, but I saved to a fault. About 15 years ago, my accountants pulled me aside and they were like, Tyra, you're not spending money. Nothing. You're just giving it away to the government. You need to spend some damn money." Banks then gave in and made an F account where she started spending her money on things she called stupid stuff. But in hindsight, she said that she should have spent her money on things like art pieces and things that she would have appreciated. Banks even today has set a limit for herself for her extra spending, as she wants a budget so she can feel safe later on, and there's nothing wrong with that, but the fact that she once bought her employees McDonald's for their work party instead of an actual catering company is just a little strange. Number 3, Carrie Underwood. Some habits are hard to break, and even when a person finds fame and fortune, that doesn't mean a person can necessarily break their upbringing. And this is definitely the case when it comes to Carrie Underwood, as even though she is one of the most famous country singers in the world with a massive fortune, she still likes to clip coupons. But hey, just because she has money, why shouldn't she save it like the rest of us? But sometimes when she does her weekly shopping, she does forget her coupons when she gets to the cash register. The star would state that the reason she still does coupons is because her parents didn't raise her to flaunt her money, so she tries to live a normal life as much as she can. And even with all the money in the world, nothing can change her ways. I kind of admire that. Number 2, Angela Bassett. So when celebrities are set to go to some really big events, they are known to spend a lot of money on their swag for the events. But it's not always for charity. And these practices can raise eyebrows. So according to financial records of a Hollywood fundraiser, Aaron Tonkin, he showed that close to $7 million he raised through charity events went to celebrities who showed up at these events instead of the charities they were raising the money for. So when Angela Bassett attended 2 of these events, she actually ended up receiving $60,000 in jewelry, even though her rep said it's perfectly normal for the company to pay her for her celebrity appearance in the name of charity. Celebrities need to know that they need to have a good heart, and at the end of the day, they're taking away money that could really help a person in need. Also, it's not like she needed the $60,000 in the first place, as she took it in jewelry and not cash. And coming at number 1 today, we have Gordon Ramsay. What if I told you Gordon Ramsay's show, Hell's Kitchen, is really Hell's Kitchen, as the controversial chef's own restaurant suppliers have even stated that Gordon got a little stingy with them as he didn't pay his bills. So back in 2010, it would be reported that even 2 wine suppliers filed a lawsuit against the chef for thousands of dollars of wine that were delivered to Gordon's restaurant at the London Hotel in New York. A meat supplier would then also come out to say Gordon owed his company over $190,000. And then in 2013, employees at one of Gordon's Los Angeles restaurants filed a class action lawsuit for unpaid wages. The hot-headed TV chef star has also been slapped with lawsuits for allegedly owing $89,000 for a cleaning bill at a West Hollywood restaurant and $75,000 to an accounting firm, and it's not like he didn't have the money to pay the bills, he just chose not to pay them, which honestly isn't okay. Pay your bills.
Number 10, Gina Carano. Gina was slowly building a name for herself in the early 2010s as a woman to be feared on screen, portraying characters like Riley Hicks in the Fast and Furious franchise, and her most recent role as Cara Dune in The Mandalorian, a series that has decided to move on without Ms. Carano on set, for the simple fact that she is just very misguided on her views towards everything in existence. In 2021, Carano Carano made a series of politically charged social media posts, the most damning of which came when she compared modern American political polarization to camps in Germany in 1945. Those are very different things. She has also mocked the usage of face coverings during 2020 and was one of the many celebrities who were claiming voter fraud following Donald Trump's loss during election time. To throw the cherry on top of the trash sundae she was making, Gina also made her opinions on pronouns known, claiming that hers were beep boop beep boop. Yeah, well hey, beep this out. You, Gina! All of this combined eventually culminated in the hashtag #FireGinaCarano on Twitter, which began trending fast, forcing Disney as well as her management company to cut their ties with Gina. Needless to say, The Mandalorian is doing just fine without her, and the rest of Hollywood is glad that she dug herself into a deep, dark, cringy grave. Number 9. Shia LaBeouf. Shia has been a controversial celebrity over the years for sure, becoming famous as one of the hardest people to work with in Hollywood history. Like many bad apples in LA, Shia got his start on the Disney Channel. At the turn of the century, Disney released a little show called The Even Stevens. The series followed the titular Stevens family with a focus on the kids Ren and Louis, played by Christy Romano and Shia LaBeouf. The show is considered to be one of Disney's best, spanning 3 seasons and spawning an Even Stevens movie that is still one of the greatest pieces of cinema ever released. These days, Shia has adopted more of a mountain man look. He always looks like he's got a big bushy beard whenever he can, and he has gone from bright and youthful to just tired and annoyed. I feel that, man. Following the show's end, Shia kept his acting career going strong, appearing in much-loved classics like Holes as main character Stanley Yelnats, but it wasn't until his casting in the live-action Transformers series that he began to descend into madness. Since 2007, Shia's behavior as both an actor and a person has been getting worse and worse. His fellow actors have reported that Shia takes method acting way too far and smells terrible on set, not to mention the several public art displays that he gifted the world in the mid-2000s. Oh, and who could forget his passionate motivational video where he told us that nothing was impossible and we could just do it. While he may still be working today, he's usually the one that's like backing the projects he's in. In the eyes of Hollywood and, well, from most of us, Shia canceled himself the minute he stood in front of a green screen and yelled at the top of his lungs, "Do it! Nothing is impossible!" Number 8. DaBaby. The rapper formerly known as Baby Jesus, and I will always remind you of that because that is a weird fact. DaBaby has always had a bad boy streak in the music industry. He's known for dropping some choice expletives on stage all the time, and even makes fun of his fans right to their faces. This unfortunately culminated in him deciding that it was appropriate to joke about a certain disease that's unnecessarily linked to the gay community. On stage, he told his fans to put up their cell phones if they didn't have any STIs. Honestly, he said a lot of weird stuff before saying the words "put your phones in the air" like he was playing some kind of a massive game of Guess Who. It's like, alright, if you have brown hair, put your hand down. It's just weird. Just don't do that to people. Of course, he was torn to shreds by the LGBTQ+ community, including icons Elton John, Madonna, and one of his collaborators, Dua Lipa. Not only did he cancel himself, but he was actually set to release a clothing line with fashion brand Boohoo Man, but they backed out following the public outcry. To top it all off, 2 of his biggest performances set to take place at Lollapalooza and a concert in Atlanta were cancelled amid the flurry of complaint calls and emails that the venue had been receiving. DaBaby actually called himself cancelled on Twitter, joking about the whole situation while just one single tear rolled down his face. Number 7. James Franco. James has placed himself in a little bubble of public exile for using his powers for evil. The man behind some iconic characters like his portrayal as the real-life filmmaker Tommy Wiseau, or his role as Harry Osborn in the original Spider-Man trilogy, or just so many more. He seemed to be on the way to a long, successful career following multiple collaborations with longtime friend Seth Rogen, as well as his turn in more serious roles like True Story as a man on death row telling his tale of woe to a writer played by Jonah Hill. Apparently though, James has a problem keeping his hands to himself, especially when it comes to his acting students. In 2018, 5 female students at his Studio 4 acting school in North Hollywood told the Los Angeles Times that Franco had parlayed his position to exploit them physically. 2 of those women sued, and Franco was forced to settle outside of court and fork over $2.23 million. At that time, he was writing, acting, and directing a show for HBO called The Deuce, which, you know, he was allowed to stay on and finish because, hey, it was being cancelled anyway. Not only did fans call for the cancellation of the series, but the public outcry forced Seth Rogen to drop his longtime pal, telling the Times of London that the scandal had changed their relationship and he had no plans to collaborate with James anytime in the near future. So there's a simple lesson to this one, folks. If you don't want to cancel yourself, Keep your hands to yourselves. Number 6. Chrissy Teigen. Chrissy canceled herself by being the meaniest, bobiniest woman on the internet. In May of 2020, an individual by the name of Courtney Stodden, a pageant model and media personality, claimed that fellow model and media star Chrissy Teigen had publicly bullied them online for years. Chrissy was accused of regularly tweeting that she wished Courtney would just take a permanent dirt nap, or straight up just end herself. Find a bridge and just Apparently Chrissy harbored some kind of jealousy towards Courtney's success and decided to take it online instead of, just not publicizing her personal problems. Chrissy quickly apologized for the tweets and DMs, which were sent as recently as 2019. In one of her last posts, she tweeted, "I'm sad and mortified at who I used to be. I was an insecure, attention-seeking troll, and I'm ashamed and completely embarrassed at my behavior. But that is nothing compared to how I made Courtney feel." Chrissy then decided to delete her social medias, because that makes you look good, following a slew of backlash of her actions, eventually leading to her being fired or leaving any job that she had both on and off the screen. Next time, Chrissy, just keep your jealousy balled up deep inside of you like the rest of us, eh? Maybe you'd still have a career. Just maybe. Just a little bit. Number 5. Ellen DeGeneres. Ellen had one of the most successful daytime talk shows of all time until 2020. Her show became overwhelmed with accusations of toxic work environment from former employees. They were claiming that Ellen's happy exterior was nothing more than a facade put in place to keep the audience on her team. A small bit of proof came when she accused 50 Shades of Grey actress Dakota Johnson of not inviting her to a birthday party a few months prior. Dakota reminded her that she had in fact sent an invitation and received a notice from her producer that said that she didn't want to attend. Fans began questioning the awkward moment, and the cracks in her appearance grew bigger and bigger. Eventually, an article was released containing testimonies from several former employees, with too many stories to have been a false narrative. Ellen canceled herself by denying every single thing that she was being accused of instead of just acknowledging her faults and missteps as a boss. Instead, Ellen's fans took to Twitter demanding that she respond to the articles and the claims that she was herself a short-tempered tyrant. Well, she didn't respond as you may think with like a public apology, no. Instead, she was forced to cancel both herself and her show amid the controversy and has been on a hiatus ever since. Oh well, more time for Kelly Clarkson. Number 4. J.K. Rowling. Alright, all you Harry Potter fans, cover your ears because this one sucks. J.K. Rowling is known for being the author of the much-loved Harry Potter book series that was eventually adapted into 7 gloriously magical movies and Order of the Phoenix. In June 2020, Rowling retweeted an op-ed piece that discussed people who menstruate, apparently taking issue with the fact that the article did not use the word women. She tweeted, "People who menstruate. I'm sure there used to be a word for those people. Someone help me out. Woman, wimpund, womud." Oh man, every time I read that, steam comes out of my ears. I don't like this woman. While this tweet garnered massive amounts of backlash from fans, Rowling doubled down on her views in more detail. She tweeted out, "If gender isn't real, there is no same-gender attraction. I know and love trans people, but erasing the concept of gender removes the ability of many to meaningfully discuss their lives." Okay. She went on to say she respected trans people's right to live any way that feels authentic to them. At the same time, "My life has been shaped by being a female." She then claimed that it wasn't wrong to speak the truth and be proud of your opinions, but hey, yeah, it is. Everyone in the world called JK out for her comments and views, with the live-action Harry Potter stars even taking to Twitter to call out her behavior and stand with the trans community. JK's publishers dropped her from their rosters, and the future of her writing career has gone up in smoke like it was straight out of the Death Eater's bum bum. If she had just kept her opinions to herself, maybe The Cursed Child would be an awesome movie instead of an okay play. Just saying, JK, go away, let us do stuff with your properties, please. Number 3. Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle dominated the comedy scene in the 1990s and early 2000s. His stand-up was considered to be the most gut-busting and entertaining around, and his role in films like The Nutty Professor, Robin Hood Men in Tights, and the cult classic Half-Baked made him a massive star. He took a bit of a break from starring in films to focus on his family life and his true passion, stand-up comedy. Despite being on stage for over 12 years though, Dave never really learned to follow suit with the times. There were just, certain topics that have become rude to joke about, and many jokes considered to be funny in the 80s and 90s just haven't aged well. Oh, who'da thunk it? Well, unfortunately, that seems to be all the material that Dave has. In one of his most recent Netflix specials, Dave decided that it was his time and his stage and he could do whatever he wants. So apparently what he wanted to do was make fun of the LGBTQ+ community, spewing trash jokes not worth quoting or repeating or looking up. So if you're curious how bad it was, let me just sum it up by saying they were rough enough to have Dave's fans turn on him immediately. Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos actually defended the comedian, claiming that he had artistic freedom, even after a group of Netflix employees and transgender advocates staged a virtual walkout. He later apologized and said that he handled the situation poorly. Oh, poor Ted accidentally supporting a bigot. Number 2, Will Smith. Whoa, Will Smith canceled himself? How? Yeah, I'm just kidding. We all know this one by now. In 2022, Chris Rock was hosting the 94th annual Oscar ceremony when he decided to make a little joke about Jada Pinkett Smith and her hair loss. Rock expressed his excitement to see Jada in a fictional G.I. Jane movie. Immediately following the joke, which landed for everybody else in the audience, Rock stood in confusion as Will Smith made his way to the stage. Will adjusted his jacket, he took a firm, strong stance, and then he just clocked Chris right in the face. He winded up his hand first to conjure the ultimate amount of force. It was kind of impressive. Initially being seen as a planned joke between the two, Will then began shouting several times at Rock to keep his wife's name out of his frickin' mouth. Chris handled the situation well. He kept his cool, he laughed it off for the cameras, and he brought out the next award presenter. He was a gem, he did it so well. He was professional and quick to get the night back on track. Unfortunately though, an hour later, Will Smith won the Oscar for Best Actor in a Leading Role. He played Richard Williams, the father of tennis superstars Venus and Serena Williams. During his speech, he gave a half-hearted apology for his actions before claiming the situation was due to his months of portraying the father on set, leaving him with an extreme paternal sense to protect his family. Unfortunately for Will, that slap was enough to get him banned from the Oscars. On top of that, he seemingly canceled himself, now being seen as an aggressive man with no impulse control. He was fired from upcoming projects, and he currently sits at home all day polishing his one and only Oscar next to a single candle in the darkest room of his mansion. And at number 1, Kanye West. Hey look, it's Canceled McGee! Man, I love Kanye West. Whenever it comes to the worst celebrities that have ruined their own careers, this guy is always gonna be number 1. Now, I've written a small poem inspired by Dr. Seuss just to remind the viewers at home exactly what Kanye did to get canceled. So, here we go. Ye was a rapper who lived in LA. He decided to ruin his rep though one day. He typed and he clicked to his little heart's content. He said racist stuff. He needed to vent. He posted to Twitter to share all his woes. The world said no thank you, it's time that he goes. He was canceled and soiled his semi-good name. He chose anger and hate over fortune and fame. His clothes all got burned and his wife left his home. No more sponsors, no more Kim. Kanye was alone. What was worse still, keeping Ye in the dumps? His only friend got arrested. Poor Donald Trump.
In at number 10, Jason Derulo. Jason Derulo was one of the many multi-talented celebrities that decided to hop on the TikTok train. He has done really well for himself on that platform from years of experience as a dancer and performer, but some of these TikToks are just straight cringe. Perhaps the worst one though was when he did some lame magic trick using his iPad where he just pulled a stack of cash out of thin air, a magic trick we all wish we could make real during these desperate times. Like I said at the start of this point though, I doubt Jason Derulo really cares what people think, or else he wouldn't have started this successful TikTok page. That being said, I'm sure we'd all much rather him be working on new music than doing these magic tricks where he flexes how rich he is. Little embarrassing. In at number 9, Howie Mandel. Howie Mandel is a stand-up comedian at heart, so it's no question that he doesn't mind being the butt of a joke. Except this TikTok was just straight up embarrassing. Instead of being the butt of the joke, he was the bull of the joke. He literally had some lady eating frozen yogurt off of his head. I mean, for a guy that is a self-proclaimed germaphobe, this TikTok is really strange to watch. I never even thought we'd get to see the day where he'd be shaking someone's hand, but out of nowhere we get this nasty TikTok. Did she clean his head before putting the yogurt on it? Did he sit underneath the frozen yogurt machine to just get it all on top? Like, I have so many questions. There's no way that he just dumped it on his head. The swirl is too perfect. But if that was the case, it would add cadence to the rumors that he is being held hostage and using TikTok to scream for help. I'd say there was an ice cream pun in there somewhere, but it was frozen yogurt, so I'll let you find those puns in the comment section. In at number 8, Will Smith. Will Smith is another celebrity that I respect for at least trying to bridge the gap between his fans and finding new ones by making TikToks. That being said, his age definitely shows up in some of them, especially when he's holding the camera inches from his chin and speaking in a creepy, whispery Will Smith voice. Although in my opinion, the most embarrassing ones are the ones that involve Jada Pinkett Smith. Especially after the whole entanglement thing that they went through, these talks are hard to look back on and appreciate them in any way. I mean, I love Will Smith, so watching him simp for Jada and still get a knife in his back was extra brutal to watch. He's basically the crying Jordan meme now for life. In at number 7, Papa John. First of all, I didn't even realize that the Papa John's had its own TikTok page, and it's not even close to what you'd think it would be. When I found out about this page, I thought, oh, maybe they're showing how they make pizzas while doing the Renegade or something, but nope, it was literally just their CEO flexing how much money he's made from selling pizza. Aside from showing off how big of a mansion he lives in, he also did some embarrassing TikToks responding to his critics.
Her so-called mean tweet is, Golgi, yo, pizza tastes like dry ice with a dab of mustard. I guess you got rocks for taste buds.
My favorite was the person who said that his pizza tastes like dry ice with a dab of mustard. Also, even though this guy created Papa John's, I really doubt that he even eats his own product. I mean, look at how jacked this old dude looks. There's no way that he's eating his own pizza. If so, that is impressive. Papa John, I want to know if you eat your own pizza. That's my question of the day. In at number 6, Heidi Montag. Heidi Montag first rose to prominence back when reality TV shows were making big stars. It was essentially TikTok with more direction maybe, but born and raised in Colorado, Heidi moved to California after befriending Lauren Conrad in 2005 and joining the cast of The Hills in 2006. On the show is where she would meet her equally cringe-worthy husband Spencer Pratt. Heidi is a prime example though of someone who changed once arriving in Hollywood. I mean, she physically felt like she had to change herself to fit in. Now that she's a mom though, she's using TikTok to find a new way to fit in with today's generation. This video in particular of her dancing while holding a bottle of wine is so embarrassing, especially with the text at the top that says, "Mom, turn up, turn up." You are a mom, Heidi Montag. I still appreciate her effort, but man, she needs to hire a renegade dance teacher if she wants to get her numbers up on TikTok. Are there renegade dance teachers? That's all they teach? I'm just a TikTok dance teacher, that's all I teach. Be the easiest class in the world. In number 5, Mike the Situation Sorrentino. Mike the Situation Sorrentino is another person that was able to hit huge success just by way of appearing on the reality TV ensemble classic called Jersey Shore. For a while, the only talent that he needed was picking up girls, taking shots, doing crunches, and tanning. All of that perfectly matched up with the show and its aesthetic, if you will. His bio states that he's all about food, fitness, and funny situations. I see what he did there. Now let's just skip though right to the cringe video.
Oh my god. Oh my god, he on X Games mode.
Drawing his hand at making some memes, it's clear he doesn't really know how to use TikTok. Also, just posting what your face looks like when you walk in on your friends smashing is embarrassing all on its own. The filter wasn't really needed, but it is the cherry on top of my secondhand embarrassment. The weirdest part was that he said, "It do be like that sometimes," and then tagged his friends at DJ Pauly D at Vinny. In number 4, Hailey Bieber. I think I winced the first time I watched this Hailey Bieber TikTok we're about to show you. In the video, her and Justin are lip syncing, except for the fact that Hailey is playing the mother in this situation. It's just weird to watch.
You know you can't say any bad words.
Yeah.
You know the words I don't like you to say.
Yeah, we can say shut up.
No, that's not a nice word.
All of her talks are with her husband Justin Bieber, and there was one with a dog I think, so she's going for the right clickbait to at least boost her page, and it worked shockingly well. With only 5 videos on her page, she has nearly 5 million followers and just over 16 million likes collectively on her combined posts. Here's my issue with this TikTok though, and why it's embarrassing really. They're performers. Well, Justin is at least, so you'd think that he'd teach her something, but they're not funny people. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a comedian, they're objectively not funny people. So doing these kinds of weird sketches where she plays Justin's mom is just straight up bizarre. Embarrassing, if you will. In at number 3, Justin Bieber. This week in how celebrities are handling the pandemic, Justin Bieber decides to embarrass himself while flexing how many couches and skateboards he owns. In the TikTok, you can hear Hailey say "floor is lava," which prompts his own song to start playing. You know, nothing wrong with a little shameless self-promotion. But then he starts jumping on the furniture. I mean, it's a good thing this kid's famous, otherwise he'd be grounded. There's the dad coming out of me without kids. He does pretty well with not touching his pristine hardwood floors, but just as he makes it to one of his many bedrooms, I'm assuming, the Biebs just flops onto the floor as he misses his mark. I mean, should have had a V8, right? Although this TikTok was better than his usual bad dance moves, uncomfortable song choices, and creepy smirks. So I appreciate it for that at least. Switching it up, you know? You gotta switch up the cringe every now and again. This means switching up the cringe. In at number 2, Vanessa Hudgens. The idea of trying too hard has seemingly become the branding for this former Disney star. Now that Vanessa Hudgens is on TikTok, her outputting content is no different. There's just something deeply disturbing about watching a grown woman lip sync over a child's voice. Maybe I'm overreacting, but it freaks me out and makes me uncomfortable at the same time, so that's a hard pass from me.
Can you say toe?
Toe.
May.
May.
Toe.
Toe.
Tomato.
Monamito.
Vanessa Hudgens certainly has the time now to make these TikToks better if she wanted to, and with her demise through Instagram Live, it would actually make more sense for her to build an audience through TikTok. If you'll remember, she said during an IG Live that it was inevitable that people were going to die from the virus. I mean, she wasn't wrong, but she also wasn't the person that we wanted to hear that news from. You know? Last but certainly not least, our number 1 spot, Jake Paul. Now, I would be remiss if I forgot to mention the very embarrassing Jake Paul on this list. This man's whole career has been made up of wild antics, controversy, and embarrassing others. Thankfully for this TikTok, we're going to focus in on Jake just embarrassing himself rather than his friends. Jake had done another video of him stacking a bunch of red cups before inevitably falling off the ladder like a oopsie daisy, thus bringing down the pyramid of sadness. Well, he tried it again, but this time opted for the more comfortable fall by stacking toilet paper rolls. You know, in the middle of a pandemic, when there was a shortage on toilet paper rolls. Although Jake adds to the embarrassment of this post by first having his dog jump across them before he topples over again. Hey Jake, the Three Stooges called and they want their physical humor back. No one's creative anymore, and TikTok thrives on just repurposing the creativity of others.
In at number 10, Lorde. New Zealand singer Lorde made a pretty big oof back in 2018 following a post on Instagram. Lorde posted a photo of her in the bathtub with the caption, "I will always love you." This was a poor choice of words on Lorde's part, as these lyrics were tied to the late Whitney Houston. Seems harmless enough at first until you realize that Houston died in 2012 after drowning in a bathtub. See the oopsie there? She literally quoted Whitney Houston in the very place that she died. Freaking yikes, Batman. Luckily, Lorde quickly realized what she'd done and took down the post. Shortly afterwards, she issued an apology on her Instagram saying, extremely poor chosen quote, "I'm so sorry for offending anyone." In her defense, it was an honest mistake and she took it down quite quickly, but yikes, that must have been quite a heart-stopping moment when she realized what she's done. You know that feeling you get in your chest when your heart sinks down to like your stomach? Yeah, that feeling. I'm feeling secondhand embarrassment for her on that one.
Up next, number 9 is Ariana Grande. The pop star song 7 Rings was ranked number 1 in the country for a while back in 2019. To celebrate the success of her song, she decided to get a tattoo on her hand of Chinese symbols spelling out 7 rings. She posted the picture of it to her Instagram, and the 2 Chinese symbols she got roughly translate to 7 rounds or 7 wheels in Chinese. But the Twitter universe got a hold of that picture and was quick to point out that a Japanese translation actually means small barbecue grill. Ariana ended up responding to her fans and said that she actually left off a number of characters in the translation because it hurt so bad, and she claimed that she would not have lasted through it during that tattoo session. In the end, she deleted the original Instagram post, tweeted that she does like tiny barbecue grills, because who doesn't, and got it fixed by adding in the last symbol.
At number 8, Lindsay Lohan. Actress Lindsay Lohan totally embarrassed herself in 2015 after posting a picture of her in a black onesie. Lohan, who was seen posing in a doorway trying to flex her curves, got a few too many curves than she bargained for. Fans were quick to point out that the picture highlighted had a significant warp in the doorway. Now when you see something like this, you think either the structure of the house is seriously compromised or she's fallen victim to Photoshop. Unfortunately for her, it was the latter. Lindsay had obviously tried to enhance the size of her curves, popping that booty out and snatching that waist, but she obviously didn't realize that it had warped the background of the image. One fan commented saying, "Girl, you cannot be serious. That is obvious as hell Photoshop." And another fan said, "OMG, this is embarrassing." Hell yeah, it's embarrassing. There's nothing worse than feeling confident about a photo, only to get embarrassed later on by the editing. But come on, Lindsay, that bend was way too noticeable for you to not have seen that before.
Cruising into the number 7 spot is Zac Efron. It's hard to forget the time when he totally embarrassed himself on Twitter after making a joke about Martin Luther King Day. Ever since his High School Musical days, he's been viewed as a poster child for the 21st century, but people were not looking up to him for moral guidance after this tweet. On the holiday, he tweeted out a photo of himself with the caption, "I'm grateful for a couple things today, Martin Luther King Jr. and 10 million followers on Instagram. Hashtag MLK Day." He even added in some dark-skinned emojis with that. He was trying to celebrate his recent success on Instagram of hitting 10 million followers, but people were furious that he was making light of the holiday that's meant to show gratitude for a civil rights leader. You know, something that you should actually be celebrating. After he saw how upset people were, he deleted the tweet and issued an apology for being so insensitive to it.
Number 6, Courtney Love. We all have those moments after watching too many cold case documentaries where we believe that we can solve mysteries just like the professionals do. But for singer Courtney Love, her sleuthing turned out to be a bust. Courtney took to Twitter back in March 2014 to announce that she believed she had found the missing Malaysia Airlines flight that had gone missing just a few days prior. Courtney tweeted out saying, "I'm no expert, but up close, does this look like a plane and an oil slick? Prayers go out to families," as well as tweeting a diagram of where she believed the plane to be located. I know. Crazy, right? After all that searching done by officials, it was celebrity Courtney Love who cracked the case. Unfortunately, her sleuthing was proven to be a miss, and it was revealed that the objects she believed to be a plane and oil slick were actually just 2 boats from the area. I'll give it to Courtney, it was a good effort on her part, but maybe next time you should leave the investigating to the professionals. That tweet must have been pretty embarrassing after being shut down for being wrong, but at least she tried, right? Sorry Courtney, better luck next time.
We have made it halfway through. At number 5, we have Scott Disick. He has always loved to show off his luxurious lifestyle on social media. I mean, he goes by the name The Lord in real life, and he even put it as his Instagram handle, which is embarrassing in itself. But The Lord messed up big time with his social media when he accidentally copy and pasted part of a PR email to a product placement ad on his Instagram. He did a post for Booty Shake, and the caption said, "Here you go, at 4 p.m. EST, write this below. Caption, keeping up the summer workout routine with my morning Booty UK protein shake." The social media star literally pasted the instructions from the PR company and posted it, which just showed his 15 million followers that he's being paid to post a fake caption and that he's not actually a user or believer of the product. People were quick to call him out on it, and he deleted it immediately and then reposted it with another, clearly scripted, caption.
Number 4, Vicky Gunvalson. The Real Housewives of Orange County star was excited to show off her latest pair of Beats headphones, but instead wound up showing a pair of something else in the process. In December 2014, Vicky posted a picture to her Instagram of her new headphones, but unluckily for her, there was a little extra something awaiting fans in the reflection of the box from her headphones. Fans were able to see the reflection of Nicki's bare stomach and breasts in the box. Now that's what I call a big oof. Nicki took to her Facebook to explain that she just wanted to give a shout out for her new Beats while getting ready. Obviously she didn't see the reflection in the image, but man, this has to be a PSA to everyone to remember to double check your photos before posting them. You never know what sort of extra content you might be giving away. And if you're looking to give away that little something extra, do it on OnlyFans, girl. Get that coin. Don't give anything away for free.
In our 3rd spot is Rob Kardashian. Back in 2012, the Kardashian brother tried to tweet out some good news to share with his fans, but quickly got shut down. He sent out a tweet claiming he was going to law school soon. His tweet said, "Going to law school very soon and so excited and can't wait. School just never ends. Hashtag University of Southern Cal. Hashtag Trojans. Hashtag fight on." Obviously, news outlets started picking up the story, and that is when the school itself tweeted a response saying Rob Kardashian hasn't even applied to USC Law. They even tagged all the biggest news outlets in their tweets so that they could set the record straight. Maybe he just assumed that he would get accepted because of who he is, but I feel like it's a rule of thumb to not post something like that until you're like formally accepted. Like, I never said I was going to university until I knew, because you never know.
Coming close to the end at number 2, we have Bow Wow. Lots of rappers are known to flex their lavish lifestyle for their fans, but in the case of rapper Bow Wow, his attempt to flex just straight up failed. Back in May of 2017, Bow Wow shared with his fans that he was about to hop on a plane to New York and shared a photo of a private jet. Like many celebrities do, he had to show off his wealth, obviously. Well, not so obviously, it took a minute for fans to catch on to the ruse that the rapper was orchestrating. You see, the photo he posted of the private jet turned out to be just a stock image of a random jet. It wasn't even his. His drip dried up real quick. And on top of that, a Twitter user on a commercial flight called him out by saying, "So this guy Little Bow Wow is on my flight to New York," but on Instagram he posted a picture of a private jet captioned, "Traveling to New York today. SMH." So like, not only did he lie about having a private jet, but he also got caught flying on a normal commercial flight. Not that there's anything wrong with flying commercially, a lot of celebs do it, but I'm just saying it must have been so embarrassing to be caught in a lie like that.
In our number 1 place is Rita Ora. Social media is a huge platform for musicians to get their music shared across the world. And that's what Rita tried to do with one of her new songs coming out back in 2014. She tweeted out, "Dropping my new song Monday if this gets 100,000 retweets." Sadly, it only received around 2,000. Then, probably after realizing that, she sent out another tweet and said, "By the way, my Twitter got hacked. Somebody is threatening to release new music I've worked really hard on, and nothing comes out until I am ready." But honestly, no one was really buying that whole Twitter got hacked thing. People said that she didn't get the response that she was hoping for, and the only way to back out of it was to say that your Twitter was hacked. But I will let you guys be the judge. What do you think?